Hello everyone, welcome back. One of the questions I hear most often is, when is the best time to visit Rocky Mountain National Park? And this is not as easy of a question to answer as you might think. And that's because all of us have different priorities. For some people, it's about avoiding the crowds or getting the best price. For others, it's about coming when the wildlife is easily seen, when the wildflowers are blooming, or when the autumn colors are at peak. So in this video, I'm going to try and cover some of the major priorities that people have and let you know when I think you're most likely to have the perfect conditions for you. Now, each year, more than 4 million people make their way to Rocky Mountain National Park. With so many visitors funneled into a relatively small area, the park can feel pretty chaotic. But if you're someone who dreams of peaceful trails, quiet overlooks, or maybe even saving a little bit on lodging, then the real magic happens outside of the busy season rush. Now, the busiest time of year in the park runs from Father's Day weekend in June through mid-October when the first winter winds begin to howl. That 4-month window sees the majority of our annual visitors. So, if you simply avoid that stretch, you'll discover a whole new side of the park, one that's quieter, more affordable, and in some ways more rewarding. But I understand if you're not excited about visiting in the winter. If you prefer milder weather without the crowds, then you might want to consider visiting in late April or early May. This is a relatively quiet time in the park, and on sunny days, the weather can be glorious. But be prepared. Spring storms can still drop deep snow. Most of the hiking trails will remain buried, and the high mountain roads, including Trail Ridge Road, are typically closed. Now, if you'd like warm weather, open roads, and fewer crowds, without diving headfirst into summer chaos, there are 2 golden windows to know about. Now, the first of these is late May through mid-June, just after Memorial Day, but before Father's Day. At this time of year, everything's waking up. The wildflowers, the wildlife, the waterfalls. It's a spectacular time to visit. Crowds haven't peaked yet, though weekends can still get pretty busy, so this is probably one of the best times to come to beat the crowds. And the second golden window is the second half of August. By mid-August, many families are heading home as the school year starts. Meanwhile, the autumn crowds haven't arrived yet. That creates a sweet little spot that is generally a bit quieter than the normal summer and autumn periods. Now, if your priority is enjoying the mountain wildflowers, I'm sorry to tell you, they don't all come at once. Flowers bloom based on their elevation, and with 6,000 feet of elevation change in the park, that allows for a lot of variation. So let me list a couple of the key times you may want to consider coming if you want to enjoy the wildflowers. Now, during the first half of June, you'll find flowers growing in the lower meadows of the park. One of the most visible of those flowers is the golden banner, sometimes known as the golden pea. And in some of the more wet and marshy areas, you're going to find the Rocky Mountain iris. And I love to find it when you have this beautiful mixture of the golden banner and the iris. Oh, it can be just gorgeous. Now, you're also going to find purple lupine growing in some of the burn areas on the west side of the park during early June. Now, one of the peak displays of flowers that you don't want to miss occurs in late June and early July. This is when the alpine tundra comes to life with color and aroma as the alpine flowers bloom. Now, along Trail Ridge Road and along the trails heading out from that road, you're likely to see alpine forget-me-not, moss campion, alpine phlox, alpine sunflowers, and so much more. Now, the other major bloom happens during mid-July through early August, and this is of the more popular mountain wildflowers. You'll find the best displays at this time of blue columbine, elephant's head, asters, daisies, Indian paintbrush, and so much more. It's spectacular. However, the best places to find most of these flowers is in the tree-lined meadows at about 10,000 to 11,000 feet above sea level. And in Rocky Mountain National Park, most of these locations are not easily accessible and require long hikes to reach. So if you're not up for a long hike and want to see these flowers, then I'd encourage you to head out to some other parts of Colorado like Crested Butte, where there are roads leading up into the high mountain meadows. Now in mid-August and early September, the lower meadows come back to life again with late summer flowers, mostly Senecio and dwarf sunflowers. Now, obviously, there are many other flowers that I didn't mention and other bloom periods and locations as well, but I think the ones I listed are the main ones that you'll want to be aware of. Now, another very popular activity in Rocky Mountain National Park is watching wildlife. We have over 60 different species of mammal in the park, and so obviously there's no way right now for me to name the best time to see each of these. So I'll just briefly mention a couple of the key times for coming to watch wildlife. Now, April and May are a great time to see migrating birds. We have quite a diversity of birds passing through each spring, which is quite a delight to see. Lake Estes, Lily Lake are some of the best places to see them. Now, during May and early June, you're very likely to see elk wandering the streets of Estes Park and filling the lower meadows of the park. They seem to be everywhere at this time of year. It's really fun to watch them, but be aware they can be very aggressive and even dangerous at this time of year. And that's because this is when they give birth to their young. So bring binoculars and watch from a distance. Now, many other animals also give birth at this time, so early June is a great time to watch the latest generation of Rockies inhabitants take their first steps. Now, if you're coming in the summer and want to see wildlife, then the month of July is a great time to find elk grazing along Trail Ridge Road. And July is also a great time to see bighorn sheep coming down from the mountains to Sheep Lakes. But the time that most people look forward to for wildlife watching is late September through mid-October. This is when the Elkrut happens, which is the elk mating season. The elk will once again fill the lower valleys and the streets of Estes Park. During this period, the male elk build up large harems of female elk, and you'll find the bulls sparring with other bulls and bugling fills the air. It's a wonderful time of year to visit, especially if you enjoy watching elk. However, this is also the busiest time of the entire year, so come prepared for crowds. Also, weekends during this period are not just busy, they're insanely busy. If you love hiking like I do, then the best time to come is between early July and late September. Now, many of the higher trails will not be snow-free until early July. And then by late September, winter is returning to the high country once again. From the standpoint of beauty, I personally think that July is the best month for hiking. However, you do have the problem of intense and dangerous afternoon thunderstorms. So I might say that early September is probably the very best time for hiking in Rocky because the snow is gone, the storms are gone, and the weather can often be idyllic for hiking and for climbing those high peaks. Now, if you're someone who really wants to enjoy the scenic drives in Rocky Mountain National Park, including both Trail Ridge Road and Old Fall River Road, then you'll need to wait until early July for both roads to be open. These roads then stay open until about mid-October. However, it gets pretty chilly up top by mid-September. So for enjoying scenic drives, I recommend that you visit during July, August, and the first part of September. For those of you who love snow, like I do, and want to enjoy the amazing snowshoeing available in Rocky Mountain National Park, I'm going to recommend the month of March. While there is snowshoeing available usually beginning by late November, there are often high winds during the first half of the winter. So if you come in March, you'll be able to enjoy wonderful winter snow with generally mild temperatures and usually a lot less wind than earlier in the winter. Finally, I know that there are many of you who want to come and see the gorgeous autumn colors in Rocky Mountain National Park. Sometimes peak colors arrive earlier than usual, sometimes they're a little later than usual, but generally, if you come during the last week of September or the first week of October, you're going to have the best chance of enjoying beautiful autumn colors somewhere in Rocky Mountain National Park. However, once again, I'll give the disclaimer, be aware that this is the busiest time of the entire year because of these gorgeous autumn colors and the Elkrut, which happen during the same time. You get two amazing things to enjoy at once, but also a double dose of the crowds. So what's the best time to come? Well, it's personal. Whether you want wildflowers, wildlife, fall colors, solitude, alpine access, each season has something magical. The trick is knowing what matters most to you. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope to see you out on the trail. To help you prepare for your visit to Rocky Mountain National Park, visit my website, rockymountainnationalpark.com. For hiking guides, calendars, coffee table books, and more, visit rockytrailpress.com. And when you arrive, be sure and stop by my gallery in downtown Estes Park. It's called Images of RMNP.